Good morning again. Let us come and move to the next panel. Quo vadis, rural destinations. You all are welcome to participate in a, I guess, really interesting panel now. The corona pandemic has cast a spotlight on destinations in rural areas that were previously underrepresented in the tourism discourse. Was this just a brief blink on an eye, or have rural destinations managed to generate sustainable success from the unexpected awareness of the urban area? This will be the central question of this now forthcoming panel. And I'm sure that we will have really interesting discussions, because we have beautiful personalities now. And I like to welcome Magister Susanne Kraus-Winkler, Mirela Cumbaro, Maria Luisa Scorza, and Jens Dreinhardt. I promised a wonderful panel, and I guess it will be an interesting discussion, as I mentioned before. So allow me to start to present in a very short way people here. Susanne Kraus-Winkler is the State Secretary at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Economic Affairs. In a way, we would say she is the tourism minister of Austria. But she is entrepreneur, and she was the president on the EU level of HOTREC, the European umbrella organization for the hotel industry in Europe. And this is because she is a successful entrepreneur in the Austrian hotel industry. So in other words, combining politics and industry, private industry and entrepreneurship. So this is a really interesting combination. We have another minister here, Mirela Cumbaro, Minister of Tourism and Environment. Allow me to tell you, but I guess you will do it also later, that Albania will be the next partner country of ITB the next year, 2025. So it is really good to have you here. Thank you very much also. And then we have Maria Luisa Scorza, coming from the province of Grosseto as a part of Tuscany, the region of Tuscany. She is the communication manager of the tourism office of the municipality of Grosseto. And why we have invited Grosseto, I guess Maria Luisa will tell us now soon. There is a strong link to the discussion we had right before. Last but not least, Dr. Jens Dreinhardt. He is a strategist, the former CEO of Barbados Tourism and Mekong Tourism, a vice chair of the UNWTO affiliate members, and the same way an expert of the field. Quo vadis, rural destinations. And if you allow me to start, as I presented before the podium, I like to ask you, State Secretary Kraus-Winkler, so about your view on the future of rural destinations. This morning we discussed basically about city tourism, basically about urban tourism. But what is with the rural tourism, the rural destinations? So do they have a future, or is everything in the near future about the city destinations and the urbanized destinations? What is your view?
Thank you very much for the invitation and the question. Asking an Austrian tourism expert if there is a future for destinations for rural tourism is of course a challenge, because in Austria, as a highly tourism-focused country, we have only 17% of all our overnights in city destinations, but 83% is in rural destinations. So for our country, it is of utmost importance that we manage rural tourism and make them fit for the future with all the challenges we have to face right now. So when it comes to sustainability in all its 3 dimensions, when it comes to balanced tourism, when it comes to tourism acceptance by the locals, similar to what is going on in the cities, we have to make sure that we have tools to support the destinations management organizations to find their way towards future, the right future, a quality future. On tourism politic level, of course, we have to provide with some tools, but from my personal point of view, the key for successful rural destination management and development lies in the destination management organizations, because they are where the destinations have to walk their way towards the future. And this is how we also do the tourism politics in Austria.
Do you feel in Austria so this stronger competition between the cities? You have very successful city destinations next to Vienna, Salzburg, Graz. A star for many years was even Linz. So is there a competition between these urbanized areas and the rural destinations, or is it the other way around, a stronger cooperation which you feel and which you probably also support with your decisions?
No, there is no competition when it comes to tourism and how it's managed. The only thing which we see right now is that everyone works together very well. Networking and cooperation are the keys for success when it comes to Austrian tourism. The only problem is that Vienna is a story at its own. Vienna is not so much focused on what's going on in the rural areas. So there is this is criticism. There is a slight difference, or let's say there is a challenge for us to work together with the city of Vienna when it comes to tourism development in Austria as a whole.
Yeah. Thank you. Let us move now to Albania. Minister Kumbaro, Albania is a beautiful country. I visited several times.
Have you already been there?
I have been there more than once. We know the cities, obviously the capital. But what about the hinterland? What about the Albanian Alps? So this is for me, let me say, an extreme example of a rural and countryside region. What are your, let me say, strategies to move forward and to bring the rural destination to an excellence?
Thank you very much. Before to start to talk about Albania, I have a quiz for you. How many people here have already been once in Albania? Very few people. Okay. Thank you for confirming me, which means that Albania is a destination to discover, and which is not competing with the neighbors as giant of tourism, like Greece in the south, Croatia in the north, Italy just in front. We are sharing with them 2 seas in 450 kilometers coastline, but Albania has the 1/3 of the territory mountains, forests, and rivers. Albania is the country of the last wide river in Europe. Maybe you have heard about it, the river in turquoise color called Vjosa, which is already a national park, which make it the first national park of a wide river in Europe. I don't know what you have done to your rivers in Europe. It's up to you to discuss about it, but in Albania we have 21.5% of the territory protected areas, which means that the potential, not just for rural tourism, because we are not dividing in Albania the tourism of the city and the tourism of rural areas. It's something which has to live together. as we have to live with the biodiversity, as we have to live near a river that should be used for the beauty, the ecosystem, the biodiversity, but also as an attraction for eco and natural tourism. And of course, after making a tour of hiking or riding or rafting in the rivers, we need to sleep somewhere, we need to eat something, more than something. And when we are talking about the food in Albania, we don't have this so-called food for tourists. We have just Albanian food, local food, from the fish to the meal, to the green spaces, and everything is bio. It is provided by the rural area. This is why the tourism in Albania is the most important, one of the two most important sectors of the economy, together with agriculture, is expanding the potential in the agritourism. We are not inventing, neither copy, but we are inspired by the best Italian models. And we have all the potential. And the beauty of Albania is that you don't need to travel hours and hours from a destination to another. Every 10 minutes, you have a diverse destination. From the peak of the mountain in snow, half hour from them, you can have one of the most beautiful beaches of Albania, virgin one. So it's not the rural, it's Albanian, with all the nature, the Albanian soul, and the Albanian humanity, with the culture heritage, with the music, the folk, the food, the ecotourism destination. And this is our offers. It was so difficult for us last year when we were here in ITB Berlin to find a slogan for our Albanian stand. Because, you know, it's like a table where you have everything and you want to have everything that you are seeing at the table. And it's the big difficulty of the choice. So we put it, Albania, all you need is here. All you need is in Albania. And we have followed very carefully all the comments of the tourists that they have visited Albania last year. More than 10.1 international arrivals we had in Albania, 10.1 million. For a country like Albania with 2.8 million people, is huge. And this year, we started with 55% more tourists in the two first months less compared to the last year for the same period. So, and we have observed the comments everywhere in the social network. And everyone was talking about a new experience. Everyone has his own or her own experience. Everyone was talking about senses. So for us, we think that the best invitation that we have, it was those slogan today, and it will be also next year, because we will be the partner countries, Albania, all senses. Come, visit us, and taste it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirela Kumbaro. That was a real invitation. Yeah? Let us move now to the neighbor, Italy. Maria Luisa is not coming from the Adriatic Sea, but from the Tyrrhenian Sea. Yeah? So the other side of Italy, Tuscany and Grosseto. You were awarded also by the European Union. Tell us about that.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I am very happy and excited to be here, to have the occasion to let people know our small city, but our big green territory. So I am here for this reason. Grosseto, the municipality of Grosseto, has been awarded of the European Green Pioneer of Smart Tourism, Commit 2024, committed by the European Commission. They award us for our best practices because we support sustainable tourism and preserve the nature. We have surrounded Grosseto to many big parks protected. The national regional park of the Maremma, 9,000 hectares of wild nature where the flora and the fauna are protected, and also the culture, the traditions, the agriculture and agritourism inside. And this park, it has established by regional law in 1975. That's why we can enjoy a very big green land where you can find local products, biological products. You can live there in a slow tourism. You can have emotional experiences because you can have a wide range of activities like water sports, hiking, like Albania, horseback riding, cycling. And the municipality of Grosseto supports private sectors. All these events, initiatives that they are related to this goal, to protect sustainable tourism and so on, as I told before. Then we have also another very big park that preserves biodiversity, that is recognized as an international wetland in Europe. Diacio Botrona Nature Reserve is a big area where is a part of Ramsar Convention since 1991. And you can enjoy not only the nature, biodiversity, but you can also do the same activities that you can do in the national park. Also, our objective is also accessibility. So not only respect of the nature, not only sustainable tourism, but we want that everybody can have the possibility to leave the territory. So the accessibility is one of our main goal that and people can do that. In the national park, we have a special path for that, but not only. In Grosseto City, we have a special project for accessibility, but also since there is also another project to the beaches accessible to all, that the municipality of Grosseto support this project, and it has been since 25 years ago. So Sicily, it has been starting this kind of project because of us. So we were a model about that. So other cities will do that. And also, what we would like to do is support rural areas, as you mentioned, because, for example, in pandemic time, many remote workers went to come to our place in historical medieval small villages, but they could work in a remotely way, but in the same time enjoy the nature in harmony, to live in harmony with nature, to eat local products, that many of them became from biological land. Our territory is more than 60% really biological, yes, vocation.
Thank you, Maria Scorza.
Thank you.
I guess we will come back to the question of how bring together the rural destination issues with this digitalization. Now, Jens Trenhardt, well, what is coming in your mind when you listen all these ideas and strategies about rural destination? You worked a lot in rural destinations.
Well, first, thank you very much for inviting me to this panel, and I'm honored to be with such esteemed experts on this panel. I learned a lot. I mean, obviously, I'm German, but I lived in Asia and was head of Mekong tourism for 6 countries in Southeast Asia: Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and China. And then I was also just recently the CEO of Visit Barbados in the Caribbean. So quite interesting perspectives. But from our standpoint, I think with Chameleon Strategies, our consulting company, what we focus on is really the questions of balance. And I think there has been a shift after COVID for people to experience rural destinations, want to have local experiences, and really connect authentically with the people and with the communities. And I just recently launched a website, balancedtourism.com, to discuss these issues, because I think many times people, either they look at the numbers or they look at almost the opposite or the extreme opposite when it comes to sustainability, flight shaming, and so on. So I think in the end, we need to grow tourism, but we also need to do that in a way that's sustainable and that's balanced. And I think rural tourism plays a big role in it. Overall, I would say it's really diversification, seasonal diversification, geographic diversification, and that obviously where rural tourism plays a role. And just to give you one example, what we've done in the Mekong region, we created a program called the Experience Mekong Collection, where we curated for the 6 countries at the end over 300 small responsible businesses and social enterprises in 6 categories: stay, taste, shop, do, and tour. And so from that standpoint, it was important to really empower these small businesses and drive capacity building. So really from an entrepreneurial standpoint, we even had an accelerator program where we then allowed these businesses to pitch, gave them access to financing as well, but also most importantly, gave a platform for them to connect and share best practices. And another campaign that we did, our Mekong Moments campaign, that featured these small businesses where we encouraged travelers and residents to share their experiences that they had in these small businesses, share them on their social media, aggregated them, and then did a whole campaign around that. That then positioned the destination, in this case the region, to be responsible, sustainable, but many times people didn't even know that they could have these experiences. So I think there is still, to go back to your question, there is this uncertainty. Yes, I want to have a rural experience, but am I safe? How I get there, there's obviously capacity issues in terms of infrastructure, roads, garbage removal, sewage. Some people still have that idea of, well, you know what, if I go into a rural destination, I have to sleep on the floor, I'm going to have cold water in the morning for the shower, and so on. So I think we were able to open people's eyes that, you know, a rural experience doesn't have to be like that. And for these small businesses, they sometimes don't have the capacity or the resources to communicate out. So as a consortia, we're able to do that together and have them share best practices.
Thank you very much for this first round, but we are slowly coming to an end. So, State Secretary Kraus-Winkler, I have 2 questions. We heard a lot about digitalization now, and in the session before, Günter Czabusznik was showing us also the idea of the data spaces development with the case study of Austria. So I guess you do a good job. Now, how bring we together the digitalization, the data spaces, or the smart idea, the idea of smartness with the problems and perspectives of rural destinations? Can we imagine a kind of smart rural destination, and what does it mean? And a second question, you can probably also connect it with my first question, is you are an excellent entrepreneur. So what about small and medium-sized enterprises in the rural and countryside areas?
Yes, those 2 questions are important. Austria has a long tradition in tourism, so we do have more than 90% SMEs and micro SMEs. And everyone has to find the way towards the future. digitalization and sustainability, besides labor market, are the two big issues which we have to tackle in the next years. We started already, and I think we do have in Austria quite a lot of good initiatives. So coming to the data space question, I would like to mention that in Austria we started with the Austrian tourism data space already 2 years ago. So what we wanted to create is to be a front runner when it comes to solving problems via digitalization and also artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence has a bigger impact as we can imagine right now. So what we did, we connected this issue of digitalization for tourism with the Austrian National Tourist Office. We integrated the responsibility for digitalization into the Austrian National Tourist Office duties, because with this we can create a network to the bottom down and bottom up, top down, bottom up. I think this is important. When I was in Brussels recently, we discussed with Digital Europe, because they're also talking about EU tourism data space. But they are thinking about creating a new organization to do this. If you want to do it in tourism, you have to connect tourism with the data space results to create user cases, whatever, to manage tourism in rural areas in a way that they are successful in the future and integrate the locals. And you can only do it if it's done by those who are already working in tourism and not creating a new kind of organization or responsibilities. So I think our idea to connect it is really something which we now see was one of the most important decisions we took. And we are very successful with this. We are trying to get results out of these data spaces to help to manage visitor flows in rural destinations, to help with the climate twin, to help to find solutions when it comes to sustainability. So I think this is one of the most important results out of the last 2 years, that you have to find the right approach and connect tourism with then when it comes to data spaces and work with data spaces.
Super. Well, we have 20 seconds. Jens and Maria Luisa, if you agree, I would give the last words, the famous last words, to the host country of the next year, Mirela. In 15 seconds,
yes,
a very
seconds.
important message.
Don't take me seconds, please.
What have you learned from Italy and from the international experiences of Jens?
Of course, but what we have as a special, I think maybe at least in Europe, is as far as I know, Albania is the only country who has chosen to have in one ministry tourism and environment. Usually, tourism is going with economy, commerce, etc., or cultural heritage, as it was the case before in Italy. But Albania has put it together under the same roof, environment and tourism, because like an instrument for check and balance and the right balance between the sustainable development on one of the most important sector of the economy is tourism, and the environment is absolutely a condition for a small country as Albania. So I was very thrilled about what you said. It's really important to keep this balance, because with the young generation, which means that the clients of the 10 years coming and more, the criteria or the element of the environment should be a very strong criteria for selecting or choosing the country where to do tourism. And I think that is really important for us, not just because to be politically correct, but because it's like a commitment that we have for the present and the future of our countries. Mostly for a country like Albania, where agriculture and tourism has to be the only way how to go ahead, and our commitment to be the champions of the Western Balkans in tourism for 2030, we have to support strongly the two elements that are characterizing the tourism in Albania, which is a country with 100% renewable energy. And talking about maybe some elements, thank you, only hydro and solar. And now that we are protecting the rivers more and more, only solar. Albania is a country with more than 300 sunny days, so we are lucky. And we are inviting the people to come because you will be lucky also. And we were talking
Thank you very
about,
much.
yes, we were talking about the census, but
Thank
so,
you very much
yes,
to this
please.
excellent panel. With
Yes, please. I have some gifts for you with
Okay.
some of the census of Albania. This is the mountain tea, so-called Albanian tea, that you have to experience and to taste it. But for the others, you are so many following us, so you have to come and to taste it yourself. This is the national drink. This is the rakia, the kind of grappa.
this is not water.
No, this is not water, but this is bringing you back. And this is from the region of the last wide river in Europe, from Vjosa River.
So, thank you very much to this panel. Big applause.
Albania census.
We continue at 2 o'clock. I will give the responsibility the afternoon to Professor Willy Legrand. You are warmly welcome to come back to the destination track in the afternoon.